she was the best at taking a piss at you.
As you say, the fucker.
Laughing about your hair or something? Well, you're very welcome to the Lightweight Boxing Show, and this week we are in the VIP gym in Astley on the edge of Salford. You've spent many a day in here, haven't you? Many a sparring session, taking your fighters down here as well. It's a busy gym.
A bit of everything, yeah, and I know, thankfully, Steve Wood, when I had the fire in my gym, he let me use this to train some of the fighters as well, who he manages. So, yeah, no, I know this place very well, and obviously more well known for the great work that Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis do here. They
do, in fact, obviously to set the scene, the Steve Wood business, his main business, when he's not doing all his boxing work, which is enough to keep three men busy, but he's got his valve engineering business, which is attached to this gym as well. But as you say, Nigel and Jamie are doing great work in here, so we are going to catch up with the fighters in here because there's some stories going on. Rocky Fielding is on a big comeback trail, if that's the right word. He's had a few fights since the Canelo fight, but he's had an interesting time of it, and we're going to catch up with Rocky. Also, well, more than a few headlines from earlier this year, Jack Catterall. He's going to be going in against Josh Taylor, obviously, in the new year. So we're going to talk to Jack more about that. And I know you've been on another little mission that's interesting in terms of Jack and who you've been talking to today. But firstly, before we do any of that, happy birthday. Big week for you this week, obviously. So there you are. So all the best. Many happy returns.
36 years young and 36th chapter.
And we should have addressed it, but it's your 3rd year retirement anniversary as well, isn't it, this month?
It is, yeah. That's flew by, and I've handled retirement really well. Listen, happy and
but you're having seriousness, haven't you?
All seriousness, I'm good. I'm happily retired, and I'm sure we're going to get onto it. It made me. I didn't know if it made me feel really young or really old at the weekend when we seen the exhibition of Ricky Hatton and Marco Antonio Barrera.
Yeah, it was a busy night in Manchester, but we're going to start in Sheffield because just to recap the weekend's events, Sonny Edwards in that world title fight, that defence, and again, I think pretty much everybody that's seen the fight has just really raved about the imperious performance.
He's a fantastic fighter. The skill set is unbelievable, and he's right up there. I know there'll be another fighter we'll talk about shortly who's right up there as well, but to be, the British Fighter of the Year, and it was, it was a fantastic performance against a very tough mandatory challenger. Skills was lovely, and he really wants, and I think he deserves, one of those big fights now against Martinez or Bam Bam. And, he's certainly earned the right to be in those kind of fights. He's mandatory out the way. Sonny's shouting from the rooftops, that's what he wants next. So
I was going to say, if he comes out of his shell a bit, I'm sure...
he's... but all that aside, I think, we've seen it that day in Sheffield. He's got a very, very good boxing brain. You'd expect that with the way he boxes, but he really knows boxing, and he'll... I think he's just he's got his second pass, but he'll become a very good coach. I know him and Grant are super close anyway, but...
Well, he is already coaching in the Steel City gym when he's not actually doing his own stuff. We've been in there and we've watched him do that. It's very much part of his armour, if you like. But Grant Smith and that gym in Sheffield had a great weekend because there was Sunny, obviously, on Friday night. Saturday night was about Dalton Smith. But we'll get to Dalton in a sec, because if we just drop down the card a little bit, Fraser Clark did the business against Sokolowski, which was a little bit of a step up, and it probably taught him a few things. The fight that we were quite invested in as Manchester people was Brad Ray with a real step up against Tyler Denny. Again, that proved to be maybe just a touch too far at this stage for Brad, but there's plenty of time for him.
It was. Do you know what? It hurt me a bit, and I know you do, because I've got a lot of love for Brad. But listen, also I'll give a lot of credit to Tyler Denny because he fought a fantastic fight, and not only did he fight a fantastic fight, they looked at one point in round 9, there was no way he was going to get through that round when Brad hurt him to the body, and he did. He gritted down, and then he got through round 10, and without a doubt, he'd done more than enough to win. But, you've got to give him his credit. He's done it on the road. We've seen him really beat Derek Azaza, River Wilson Bent. It's now time that, someone gets behind him now, and I think they probably will do, and promote it, and he comes in as the home fighter. But there was a lot of respect between them, but I liked his attitude at the press conference. He was like, no, I'm the away fighter because Brad's the prospect and I'm fighting on his show technically. But no, it was a great fight, and it was, like you say, it was gutting sort of for Brad, but he'll certainly come again, and he would have learned a lot of valuable lessons, and he's young enough and he's certainly good enough to come again and compete at that level and further on.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He'll have a bit of time out now and just reassess. But yeah, he's as you say, he's a real talent. But from Tyler Denny's point of view, you know, Brad gave him all the respect in the world afterwards as well, and Tyler deserves that. It was brilliant, and it was a great night for him. But you know, we'd maybe see it again down the line.
Yeah, there's certainly a chance of it. There certainly is a chance of it. I know that was, and that's when you look at, you know, for an English title as well. That was a very, very good English title fight. It was worthy of, and there's no disrespect at all for the English title. 2 hard fights for himself, but that you could see that again down the line for a British title or even further along.
Yeah, Dalton Smith again was in another tough fight. He got, as I mentioned before, it was a good night for Sheffield, a good weekend for Sheffield and Grant Smith, his dad. But again, it was a tough one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And listen, they had massive respect for Casey Benjamin, and I'll be honest, I was so impressed with him. I really was. A very, very good fighter. I know Dalton, I won't make excuses. He'd had a bit of a chest infection, you know, after it, and he boxed, but he was pushed to the wire. Like you say, I thought I had Dalton. I think I've had him 4 up, but what it was is each round was so. Yeah. You know, there wasn't much in it. There wasn't much in it at all. And I believe he's a top talent, and I believe that is the perfect kind of fight that's going to benefit him later in the career as well. And I genuinely believe, I think there now he's had a quick defence. Get Dalton 2 quick defences, win that Lonsdale belt outright, which I know he wants to do, and then move on. But Casey Benjamin will certainly come again. I'm very, very confident of that.
And there was a very happy Natasha Jonas in the fight hotel after she managed to get away from the arena. There are always late nights, these things, aren't they? Waiting for a pizza, I think it was, with Joe Gallagher, the trainer. It was another big night. And again, obviously a gym you're heavily invested in. But Natasha just proving that age is just a number. And three belts in this year, it's been fantastic.
And that was obviously the other fighter I was talking about for, as a good case for British Fighter of the Year. But she was great, and I think the opponent Decare, she just didn't stop coming fair play, and she walked onto some big shots, and that didn't discourage you. I think you could really see the size advantage she had on there. But like I say, I thought that Natasha won comfortable. Like, she was pushed hard, but she won well on the cards, like it said. But and I think sort of with Joe, he just did really well with her. Speaking to him after it, where the only time Tasha was getting caught when she was pulling out, so then she started to hold her feet a little bit more and the shots. And listen, she won well. The thing is now with Natasha, I know there's an awful lot of talk on social media today, the last few days, and it'll continue. But we'll just see. Listen, she's in a great position. There's obviously the 3 fights that are being talked about. They're all very big fights.
There's loads of fights now, isn't there, really? When you think about, all right, the obvious one, Terry Harper, I say obvious because there's been a lot of chit-chat about it. Yeah. Terry Harper, does she go back there again? She had that fight, of course, which was really tight. Many believe Natasha had done enough to win. Again, that was a draw, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's one of them. Like, I probably could get slated for it, but we're both realistic. It's highly, highly unlikely it's not going to happen. You know, it's not. It won't happen unless it's just. Yeah, let's just be honest. It's I think
but that would be at the Super Welter, obviously. That would be for all the belts.
Yeah, it'd be for all the belts. It's well documented that Tasha now's with Boxer, Tasha in Matchroom. Tasha is unbelievably happy with what Boxer had done for him, and rightly so. I'm guessing Terry's the same. It's why sit here like wasting talk on it? I'm just going to be realistic. There's highly chance it's not going to happen.
You just don't believe that happens because what's the main reason? Because of the 2 platforms or what? Or?
There's just a lot of politics involved in that fight, and I don't know how much I can say, but anyone with half a brain in boxing knows that's very unlikely to happen, that fight. And shame, because it's a top fight. It's a top fight.
So the other options out there, I mean, obviously she's moved up in weight anyway. She can move back down. Yeah. I think she said herself, anything to lightweight, she's happy with.
Yeah, she's obviously there's McCaskill who's still got all the belts. That's a very a very good fight that could be made. There's more titles to add to the thing, and then the other one is Clarissa Shields, who says she can come down in weight, and that, I know it sounds hard, that might be the easiest fight to make, be the hardest one. It'd be the hardest one, but that might be the easiest fight to make. And we'll just see. But, I think we've sort of just got to take a little bit of time here now to say what an amazing 12 months Natasha Jonas has had. From February to now, what she's done, 3 fights, 3 world titles, Ring Magazine belt. I'm super proud of her, and I think anyone who knows her is. But yeah, we'll see what happens next.
You know, full-time mum as well, and the way she juggles it all.
Full-time mum, it's inspiring, and you know, credit as well to Joe Gallagher as well, because they've stuck by each other, and it's been an amazing story.
Yeah, and of course, before we left the arena on Saturday night in Manchester, you were singing along to Blue Moon. I saw you as Ricky came back into the ring again for one last dance. If it is one last dance, who knows? I mean, again, is he going to have another little exhibition? I don't know. There's been all sorts of chit-chat about that. But him and Barreri, they did put on a bit of a show, you got to say.
And it was much better than I expected, because I was a little bit worried, and I was speaking with Matt Macklin, who was doing the punditry for Sky that night, and we're talking, and we're like, what happens here? Like, the crowds here, they're very, very loud. If someone lands a shot, how do they, do you know what I mean? But no, I thought they'd done it just right. And you see some exhibitions, and you're not a massive fan. I know there was a card on his own pay-per-view card out in Dubai.
Was there?
With Floyd Mayweather on. Tommy was on there. They got very lively with Tommy and his father, with Jake Paul. But no, it was good, and I think it gave, and I really hope so, it gave Ricky that closure on his career that he felt he didn't get or want. And he sat around with the night up nicely. The band back there, there's a lot of old faces there. It was like, I think I said
that's
before.
true. There was a lot of old faces. You're dead right. There were the people you've not seen since the heyday of Ricky, actually.
And it was back. So, no, it was good. Good night. Good end to a good night.
Yeah. Well, we are looking more to the future now, if you like, as well. That's why we are here in the VIP gym. We have been catching up with all the names that we stressed at the beginning, at the top of this. And we've got a little treat lined up for you in a bit as well, as it's your birthday and you're 3 years retired and all the rest of it. But no, it's not that much about you. It's mainly about, obviously, what the work that is being done here with Nigel Travis, with Jamie Moore, of course, and with the fights that we mentioned. It's been a great time recently for Aqib Fiaz. Big fight coming up for Rocky Fielding, and of course Jack Catterall, and that small matter of the Josh Taylor rematch. Well, another session done, Jack, but I suppose we may as well get straight into it with you, because there's been so much chat for a long time, obviously, about the new date for Josh Taylor. We know it's going to happen, and that's the main thing from your point of view, I suppose, is it's definitely going to happen. It's just a matter of fine-tuning exactly when, but we're thinking Feb at some point.
Yeah, so my understanding is that we've agreed terms to fight each other. The only thing left up for discussion is date and venue. We was ready to go November, December. On his side, they wanted it in the new year, so we're now looking at a date in February.
Amazing how quickly a year goes, isn't it?
Scary, you know what? I've been in the gym. I had a couple of weeks off. I was back in the gym, training, running, keeping myself busy, and I've been in a good position to go. Unfortunately, we've had to wait a bit longer than we anticipated, but the opportunity to fight for a world title. I know Josh will have the WBO world title this time, so it was a case of getting a shot at a world title rather than 2-3 fights to build back into that position, win this, and then we go on from there.
Yeah, in terms of we knew that there was going to be a fractured situation potentially with the belts, and again, you've had to deal with the fact that you may not get that shot or the belts again that you did get. And I know what you feel about the first fight, as a lot of people do. Have you dealt with that? That's gone now. Whatever. You just want our world title. Get on with it. Get cracking.
Yeah, of course. We dealt with that in the weeks after the first fight, and we are where we are. Looking forward to a rematch. There'll be a world title up for grabs. My goal is still to be world champion, and I believe I'm capable of that. I anticipate a much different fight second time round, but a fight that I know I can win.
Much different fight. That's interesting, because clearly the way that you handled the first fight, it was almost perfect, wasn't it, really, in terms of your game plan. Now, again, he said plenty of things after that about lots of stuff, if you like. A little grin there. But so how's he tackle it differently? What's he going to do? You say it's going to be a different fight. What do you do? What does he do that's so different?
He's got to approach it different. I know we heard the excuses last time of the weight, the injury, etc., but ultimately he's got to approach the fight different. And ultimately for me, it's about being prepared for any situation, whether he wants to come and have a scrap, whether he wants to box on the back foot. Again, I've got to prepare even better than the first time to make sure I've covered everything to go in there and do the job on him.
Yeah, the shift to Joe McNally is an interesting one. I mean, Joe's a real emerging talent as a trainer. You know, Kevin Aguiargo's there now, he's moved there, and it seems to be that he's really on the up. He's always dealt with top fighters, obviously, anyway. He's always had a really good gym. I mean, how good a move is that when you look at that from Josh's point of view?
You know what, I don't know Joe Mack personally, but I mean, he's been in there a matter of weeks now. The fight's maybe 12, 14 weeks away. I don't know if you can change somebody who's boxed all their life in that short period of time. there'll be certainly things he'll be showing him to try and do. But I think Josh, you would certainly need a couple fights, in my opinion, to get settled in with it. Like when I joined Jamie and Nigel, it took 3 or 4 fights to embed the stuff that I've been working on. I don't think it can change him overnight, so it'll be interesting.
And you've had a long time to think about this, and there's still a bit more time to go. But, you know, with what you did last time, there's going to be different eyes on you now. Going to be a whole different ball game with the bookies and everything else, and you've got to deal with a lot more pressure now. Last time, I suppose, it was a bit of a free hit because no one gave you a prayer apart from people in the know around this place, I suppose, mainly. How do you deal with that, or is that anything that's going to affect you at all?
You know what, I'm going to say nothing's really changed apart from more eyes will be on the fight. I'm very grateful of that. I've had a lot of support since the last fight. But I keep myself grounded. I've got a great team, and I've said this time and time again. I've got a great family, great bunch of friends and a great team, so they'll keep me where I need to be. Ultimately, it's going to grow in exposure, and that's a good thing for me, more eyes on the fight, and hopefully they can all see me become world champion.
Now, since the Canelo fight, that's the last time you boxed at 168. Again, you, similar to one of your old foes, Callum Smith, people look at you and think, come on, 168, how did you ever do that? And now, at light heavy, you've got this chance. You've had a couple of warm-up fights, if you like, Dan Aziz at this weight. How much stronger and better do you feel at the bigger weight now?
You know, I came out of the lockdown, the COVID, now my weight was a bit high. You know, I mean, you know, the age was getting another year on, another 2 years on, and it just that little bit of man thing of like these couple of pounds, and you know, at the end of it, like what's there? You know, I'm still high ranked in the WBA, and I got a message the other day off the WBA Gilberto, and he's saying I could be next in line for eliminator for the WBA title at super middleweight. So there's an option there. If really, you know, have our nutritionist who's good, and you know, get the full 12-week thing, but. It's a less, you know, it's still big for light heavy. I'm still, you know, still got to chip away and be dedicated and disciplined in the weight. But it was a right, you know, as I say, I've won the English title, British title, WBA title, you know, international title at super middleweight, and I had a bit of a thing in me, I think, and well, you know, I'm a good size for the light heavyweight division. Let's target that and see what I can do and achieve at this weight. And I'm starting off, you know, in December the 17th now in a good title fight.
Yeah, watching you on the pads, you're certainly hitting hard as well. And I know Jamie said the same. He said he can't believe how hard you are hitting. Now, with this fight then, British title fight, you won the British title as a super middleweight. It'd be a nice little addition, another Lonsdale belt. And Dan Aziz, you know, again, good top pro, unbeaten pro. I'm sure you watched him in Liverpool when he boxed Shakan Pitters. Again, what have you got to do to wrestle that belt off him?
Yeah, I say, when I was at super middleweight, I didn't really take notice of the light heavyweight division. I did go to the Echo show. I took my little boy and my nephew, but my little boy, they were messing about, so I couldn't really watch the fight. It was something that weren't interested because I didn't think an opportunity like that come. But as I've looked them up, and I've had a little nose, and they got a split decision against Ricky Summers, and I sparred Ricky a couple of years back, and you know, he's getting momentum because you got the Sky behind him, so it's a bit of a hype thing on him and stuff like that. And I've got the experience, you know, and I don't think he's been in with anyone who can hit as hard as me and get that respect. So it's a good fight. And as I said, I was ticking over in the gym, and a text come through. You know, I'm sitting around ticking over, nothing's happening. A text come through saying, "Do you want to fight Dan Aziz for the British title?" As I said, yeah, because it was just about, like, as you just said, I've won a super middleweight, I win it at light heavyweight, a two-time British champion at 2 different weights. It was just a little goal for me to, you know, tick off, and something to aim for, and get me notes on the light heavyweight division now, and I think it's just the first step to it now.
If you could pick a fight for Chantel next time out, the perfect fight for her, I think Chantel's made it pretty obvious the fight she wants. What would you pick for her?
Obviously, Katie Taylor.
That's the one.
And that's not, you know, disrespecting Katie in any way, shape or form. It comes from a place of respect.
Yeah.
You know, she's so well thought of. She's achieved so much, and in this sport, you want your fighters to be able to challenge
Involved
the
in
very
the
best
biggest possible
and try
fights,
and test herself against the very best. You know, I honestly feel that Chantel could beat Katie Taylor, and that's not, again, being disrespectful to Katie. You know, maybe timing would be one of them, but I think stylistically she's really well suited. A lot of the time in the big fights Chantel's been involved in, she's had to box. She's had to go on the back foot herself and be adaptable. That's not her first first and foremost style. She's an aggressive fighter.
Come forward fighter.
Since she started boxing for Eddie on Sky, it's just worked out that she's not been able to sort of implement that. She's had to box on the back foot. But Katie would try and outbox Chantel, and then I think you'd see the best
styles with
type of style for Chantel.
So good to catch up with all the faces in this gym, and nice little chat with yourself and Jamie. You go back a long way, you two, don't you?
We do.
And again, everything's going so well, and he's one of these trainers now, I think. Again, I mean, there's been a lot of success in here, the likes of Martin Murray and Frampton, of course, and again, but with Chantel, it's given it an extra little kick, hasn't it?
It's no, it really has, and this is, you know, without a doubt, it's seen as one of the leading gyms around Britain. You know, it's the amount of titles are here. Obviously mentioned Jack Cat. They could have 2 fighters, Ring Magazine belt holders in early next year. So no, they're doing fine. They might have a British title. Yeah. By Christmas, it's a gym that's really flying.
We'll move on because there is a bit of action this weekend, and a fella that we should have probably mentioned earlier anyway, he's got a link to a night of action you're going to be at in Telford, because Denzel Bentley went stateside and it didn't quite come off for him, but again gave a good account of himself. Yeah,
he'd come out covered in glory. I was there the night last time out when he beat my mate Marcus Morrison in a right shootout, but no, he gave a great account of himself. At world title level, and it showed that he can come again against a very good champion. So he'll come again. But yeah, this weekend we're over in Telford. I'm over in Telford for Liam Davis, who beat an unbelievably talented lad from this very gym in Mark Leach. He shocked a lot of people, and we also see back out Anthony Yard.
And what do you expect? I mean, Yard just comes through and sets things up nicely.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, I'm not sure too much on the opponent yet. I've not seen too much of him, but you'd expect Yard to do his job, come through nicely to set up a huge fight. Yeah. Betfred, and I know the winner for the WBC has been ordered to fight another Smith brother in Callum Smith.
Yes, so Anthony Yard back in action in Telford. I'll be in Sheffield actually for Kirsty Bavington's defence of her European title fight as well. That live on Fight Zone. But before we go, Anthony, as it is your birthday week and you're 3 years retired, we just thought, you know, all the fighters that you work so closely with, we thought we'd just get, you know, their respectful view of you, Anthony $1 Million Crolla, the coach.
Timekeeping, real timekeeping, yeah, and mirrors. We're all the double act, timekeeping and mirrors.
Just walking past one, that's the problem.
Yes, walking past one and getting out of it.
Crolla's kind of a last resort on the music. You go home feeling a bit upset and like you want to break up with your missus with the kind of drivel that he puts on.
When you've got a baby and you're trying to sort out childcare for the morning, and you message Anthony at 11:30 saying, what time are we in it morning? And he says, I'll let you know. And I'm trying to go to bed, it's about 11:30, but then he still don't let us know till the morning. But you know, for all his flaws, he is an amazing person and he's a great coach.
I'm happy with the DJs in the gym at the moment, but some of them don't get it bang on every time. Especially, you know, when they stop getting it bang on is when I'm just at the end of my camp and wanting something good on, and then everyone starts throwing all the mad stuff on.
The new feature we're doing now called Crolla's Corner, where I'll ask the fighters or the people to do with boxing a handful of questions away from boxing.
Domino's pizza.
A Big Mac? Yeah. Wow, something as simple as that.
I don't know, the biggest, greasiest chicken burger I've seen.
You're going to what? You're going in the trenches and you can pick one fighter from your gym. Who you're taking with you?
I'd have to take Nige because he's dead daft. He's dead daft. They'll send him in straight
So it'd be
away.
like fodder, like cannon fodder type thing.
Like the guinea pig. You go and see if it's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mic gets handed to you. What's your song?
Well, it depends on the bar. You know, Girls, Motley Crue? Like you hear in every strip bar.
Yes,
Not that you go to strip bars, but you know, you see it in the films when you're watching films about strip bars, yeah?
Yeah, I think that'd be it. Imagine Scott Quigg on the drink. You've got to go on a lad's holiday with Maxie and Josh, yeah?
He's a miserable bastard.
Yeah, I won't go on a holiday with him, so.
With a caravan, do you know what I mean? He'd be happy then. Fish and chips, caravan, He's fucking wanking.
The best thing about being trained by $1 Million, as you put it.
Best thing about training, we can share hair products. He has the same hair products as me. He gets this wow hairspray, and he actually put me onto it. He said, oh, my hairdresser's giving me this wow hairspray, and it makes your hair dead nice. And I was like, oh my God, no way, really? So I went and bought it, and now actually I get really complimented on my hair whenever I go out because of Anthony Crolla.
That is the very best thing about being trained by Anthony Crolla.
Yeah, it's the very best thing.
That is the very best thing. But it's just great to see the respect that all the fighters have for their coach, Anthony $1 Million Crolla.
I'm going straight to the gym now, and yeah, them lot are in trouble. And yeah, it really means a lot, the fact that all the work, the hours of putting with Rhiannon, the best bit of advice I've given her is the Wow Dream Coat product for your hair.
Yeah.
And yeah, that does mean a lot. No advertisement there. It's just a genuine one.
You're not advertising it today. You're having a bad hair day.
No, I am having a bit of a hair day. A greasy head on me, but great product, and I'm glad Rhiannon agrees.
Anyway, massive week next week before we sign off here, Anthony, in Astley, because we're going to be in London for, well, there's loads of cards, isn't there, basically? Loads of action next weekend. And we're going to, firstly, I think, concentrate on the Dillian White card, the Matchroom card, but there's action on the Friday, there's action on the Sunday, and it's busy, isn't it?
It's a mad weekend of boxing, and that's not including all the smaller shows, non-TV shows up and down the country. But yeah, no, Friday, there's Harlem Eubank, Tom Farrell. It's a great fight. Saturday, I know Dillian. Frank Queensbury have got a show.
Oh, yeah.
Dillian, Sandy Ryan, they're on that. Sunday, the Ali Pala.
Yeah.
And there's a great fight on that in Lerone Richards, Zach Cheller. I think the Azim brothers, they're back out. It's a great weekend. Then we roll into the next weekend, which could be even bigger. Starting on the Friday night with the North East Derby within Troy Williamson, Josh Keller.
Yep.
Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora the night after. Busy times. Busy
much of Tyson Fury recently. I presume training's going well. He's not posting much, is he?
It's character and a half. But we look forward to being down there. Will John keep his top on? I hope not. I like seeing Big John giving it some. But yeah, it's he's going to be there that fight week as well. Who knows? Might even get a word with him.
The football's off now, as in Premier League.
Yes, what a way to finish it. Garnacho, that late winner. Yeah. Wow. World Cup now, isn't it?
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Who's going to win?
Oh, wow. It's a tough one, you know. It's I think because I wouldn't be surprised if we see an African nation do really well for the first time. But my pick for it, and it's not a very educated pick, and my boxing bets haven't been too great lately either, so this could be worse. Yeah. Spain.
And your outsider?
Senegal.
So no England in there?
I think we're going to get through the stage. I think we're going to get through the group stage, and if we don't, it would be terrible. You've got to be honest. It's no disrespect to the other teams in the group. England should be winning that group and winning it well. So I do believe we. I think we might see us get to the quarters, semis. Love us go the whole way, but we'll see.
Well, the World Cup will be ongoing, but next week it's all about boxing for us, obviously, here on the Lightweight Boxing Show. We are going to be in London, as discussed, going through all the various cards down there and bringing all the action. And remember, all the interviews that you've seen from this show and all the shows, the long-form variety is on the YouTube channel. So go on there, subscribe, like, do the business on that, turn your notifications on, all that business. But that's it for this week. Getting a bit chilly here anyway, so we're going to get out of here. And thank you very much indeed.
Time's coming up.
It is. Thanks for watching the Lightweight Boxing Show.